Searching for innovation opportunities. We've learned that there are many different sources of innovation, so the real challenge we have in managing innovation is where do we start? Now, a random search isn't a good idea. It would be immensely wasteful, especially when, as we always are with innovation, we have scarce resources. So what we need is some kind of a search strategy, some kind of a framework for helping us look for those opportunities for innovation. And in this film, we're going to look at a number of frameworks that might help guide that search for innovation possibilities. We're going to look again at the 4 Ps approach, looking at different directions for innovation. We're going to look at the idea of exploiting and exploring, looking for innovations which help us do what we do better, but also things that help us do something different. We're going to look at different horizons in terms of innovation space, near, further away, and further still. And we're going to look at different horizons in terms of innovation timing, close to today, in the medium term, and looking out into the long term. And finally, we're going to look at the question of searching beyond the lamppost, looking for the disruptively, completely unexpected. So let's remind ourselves first about the 4 Ps of innovation. Now, we saw an earlier film about this. This is all about having a compass to help us map where innovation could be possible. And as we saw there, we can think about changes in the way we offer something to the world, our products and our services. We can think about changes in the processes we use, the ways we create and deliver those offerings. We can think about changes in the positioning of those, different market spaces, different stories that we might tell about our products and services. And we can think about the underlying business models, the underlying paradigm. All of this is possible to change, and it gives us a lot of scope for guiding our focus in terms of innovation search. Do we explore all those directions? And we've also seen this very powerful spectrum. Innovation can be both incremental, doing what we do better, and it can be radical, doing something completely different. So again, the challenge in our framework is to make sure we're covering all of that spectrum and looking at opportunities to exploit what we already know, incrementally improving, and explore new possibilities. Now let's bring into this another idea, which is horizons in terms of innovation space. We can think first of all of looking close to our core, the things we already know about, the things that we already work with. We can also think about things which are adjacent to that, maybe moving into a new market area or a new technology, but essentially building on things we already know, moving into the next door neighbour space. And we can think about something that's quite a long way out in terms of our search horizons, transformational opportunities. Now, if you put these two together, the innovation compass, the 4 Ps, and our idea of horizons in space, we can get a framework. And we can use this as a map to make sure we're covering all of the search we're trying to do. We can do the same thing with searching over time. We can think about a near-term horizon where we're essentially looking to extend and defend what we're currently doing. We can think of a medium-term horizon where we're also alongside that wanting to build the foundations for new activities. And we can think of scanning the long-term future for perhaps radical things that are coming on the horizon. Once again, if we're going to use this horizon in time model, we can link it together with the 4 Ps to identify a framework for innovation search. Now, the last area we might think about has to do with what else? What about the surprises? What about looking beyond the lamppost? Very old joke. You come out of the pub, you see a man obviously rather drunk and very upset. And tears streaming down his face, he's scrabbling around on the floor. So, being a gentle soul, you decide to help him. What's the problem? Why are you crying? I've lost my keys. I don't know where to find them. I don't know what I will do. That's all right. We'll help you look. Now, where did you last see them? And he hangs on the lamppost and he points in the distance to the car park in the darkness. Well, they're over there somewhere. Hang on a minute. If your keys are over there, why are you looking here under the lamppost? Ah, that's because there's more light here. Now, it's a bad joke and I don't tell them well, but it's a powerful metaphor. Smart organizations searching for innovation will use the sorts of frameworks and techniques we just mentioned to cover under their lamppost, what we call the selection environment, where they pick up the opportunities for innovation, the technologies they'll look at, the markets they'll watch, the competitors they'll keep an eye on. That's fine, and we can do a great deal of spotting innovation opportunities in that space. But what else? What about the distance outside, under and beyond the lamppost? So we need to think here in terms of different kind of search strategies. We can see it in this picture. If we think about innovation from incremental to radical, and in terms of the environment, the number of things we look at, then that bottom left-hand box is all about within the space under our lamppost where we're used to looking, our familiar frame, doing what we do better. Now we should be able to manage that, searching for innovation opportunities there. We should also be able to manage the question of exploration. Within our world, within the lamppost area that we've defined, we know what's on the horizon and how to get towards that. It's risky, but we've got some good ideas. The real challenge comes because we need other tools and techniques, perhaps of a very different kind, to search for the unexpected. And the evidence is clear. If we don't at least put some of our search activity in that space, we risk being surprised. The idea of disruptive innovation, which we'll revisit many times, the idea of disruptive innovation is really about organizations finding themselves surprised when their whole game changes because of technological or market shifts that they hadn't expected to see. So we'll come back to that, but here we need to put a framework in place that deals also with this. So let's summarize where we've been in this video. First of all, there are multiple sources of innovation. We can't search everywhere. We need a strategy and we need some kind of structured framework. One of the very useful tools is the idea of an innovation compass, just to make sure we're covering all the possible areas, the different ways we could innovate. We need within that space to look for both exploit, do what we do better, and explore, do different opportunities. We need to look also in terms of our search horizons, in space, near where we are, our core, adjacent to where we are, and at our periphery. And if we translated that into time, the immediate future, the next generation, and then looking far out into the future. And finally, we need to be able to look within our existing frame, our existing selection environment, and also beyond the lamppost.